Hi there, Mark here again, and welcome to this long-term review of my fantastic Tamiya Konghead on the G601 chassis. Now Tamiya first released this kit in July 2017 and I put my order in straight away. So this actual monster truck is just about to celebrate its 7th birthday, and in those 7 years it's had a tough life. Every time I go up the hobby shed to pick an RC to run, this one's hard to ignore. I mean, just look at it. It just screams, pick me, pick me. I mean, the size of it, the 6 wheels, the monster truck body, I mean, it's so cool. It's almost as if it's challenging you to try and find some surfaces that it won't run on. So in those 7 years, this truck has gone with me to all my favourite stomping grounds. With its 6-wheel drive, it can run on almost any terrain. It's been run on dirt, sand, mud, snow. I've even launched it down some huge flights of steps. As you'll see, take a look. And it still keeps bouncing back for more. Now, you know, I've been racking my brain trying to remember if anything's actually broken on this truck. And you know, I don't think it has. And that's even more amazing considering I've fitted a much faster motor than stock, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So this 6-wheel truck is on a very unusual chassis, as you can see. Unlike the conventional bathtub where everything sort of sits down inside the tub itself, this is basically one huge gearbox with everything bolted to it. There are 3 independent differentials. As you can see, if I spin one wheel, the opposite wheel goes in the other direction. And those differentials are connected together by a whole set of idler gears running from front to back. You've got your motor hanging out the side here, which drives those gears directly, and it works extremely well. And it's damn near bulletproof. As you can clearly see, I didn't go box art with mine. The beauty of building a kit that comes with a clear Lexan body is the sky's the limit when it comes to paint jobs and detailing. The box art looked just a bit too comical for my liking, and I wanted a bit more of a minimalist look, so I went with this metallic purple and silver paint job, and I think it looks really cool with these huge chrome intake stacks and the exhaust pipes, and they're included with the kit. As you'll see from the running clips in this video, my mate Rob went with a really bright yellow and black design, and I think it looks super cool. As I said, the traction you get from these huge tyres and the 6-wheel drive means that you can enjoy this on almost any surface, and the Tamiya adverts actually say that this will take on a 40-degree incline, and it sure can. One thing I have done though is to remove the front bumper. Basically, it's a great big piece of plastic on springs that hangs right at the front here, and what I found is that it just stops the truck dead, especially if you're coming off a jump. It'll just dig in, or on a steep incline it just stops the truck. So I got rid of that. It's a bit of a risk, I suppose, but at least you've got these great big front tyres to take up any impacts. Right then, let's get it on the bench and have a close-up look. Okay then, let's get this body off and have a good look at the chassis. And as you can see, for a 7-year-old truck, it's had so many rollovers I can't remember, and the bodywork is still in amazingly good condition. And I think that's because these exhaust stacks, the top of these, protect it when it rolls over. Those are the things that hit the ground, and yeah, they're pretty strong. So as you can see here, we've got the battery tray at the top. Got this cover that lifts up. You can take it off, it just holds the battery in. It's a nice big tray, you can get lipos in there, no problem at all. You've got your ESC sitting on the top here at the rear, and your receiver, which I've taken off, just fits behind it there. The 6 wheels and tyres are all the same. They're 12mm hex driven, but they are the tyres off the lunchbox. But as I said, the wheels are different. These are chrome plated, and the only issue I've had with these is chrome plated wheels, or plastic chrome plated wheels, tend to be made of a more brittle plastic than the non-plated ones. And as you can see, there's a little chip out of that one. I think I've hit a curb. But other than that, I think all of the others are fine, and not going to stop me from running it with that little chip anyway. And because you've got 6 tyres with such an aggressive tread pattern, there is so much traction that this thing can get over pretty much anything. It gets superb grip even on slippy wet mud, and as I said before, it will climb over 40 degrees, as you can see here. We've got independent double wishbone suspension all round, and as you can see, they look like oil-filled shocks, but they're not. These are actually Tamiya friction shocks, and they're not like the ones that come on the TT02. They've got no friction whatsoever, but these have actually got rubber tubes inside the body of the shock, and the piston runs up and down inside the rubber, and it does provide a decent amount of damping. Well, at least when it's new. Now this is as old as it is, I think the rubber tends to wear slightly over time, and it's not quite as damped as it was. So one obvious upgrade you can do is to change to oil-filled shocks, or CVA shocks, which I've done. I've got a spare set that I've fitted on the front. The reason I've done that is because with the steering, I wanted the front wheels to be planted on the ground as much as possible so that it will actually steer. So yeah, that's why I've put them on the front. But if you can afford it, a full set all round would be a good thing. But I don't think it's 100% necessary, because with the 6 large and bouncy tyres, they will actually make the truck bounce up and down regardless of what shocks you've got on, and I found that the truck handles perfectly well with the standard friction shocks. As I said earlier, the chassis itself is basically a gearbox from front to back with tons of gears in there. I'll just show you a picture now of those gears. Again, I won't show you doing all of those. We're going to grease all those up, grease everywhere, but rather have too much than not enough. So that's step 6. And after seeing that, one thing I would definitely recommend is, like I did, when you build the kit, install metal ball bearings into all of those gears. It's quite an outlay, because I think there's over 40 bearings that you need for it, but definitely worth doing, because that gear train, as I said, running from front to back must take quite a pounding, and you don't want to have to take the whole thing apart just to change out worn plastic bushings, which are what comes with the kit. But a nice feature of this kit is that those 3 differentials are driving sets of metal output cups. If you can just see in there, and so you've got steel output cups, you've got steel drive shafts on all the wheels, and of course you've got steel wheel axles. Okay, so onto the steering. You might be able to see you've got the servo mounted on the side here, and if I just turn it upside down, you can see how it operates. So you can see you've got the steering servo horn there, which operates a rod, which moves another crank which sits in the middle of the chassis there, and then that turns the steering rods. Now, one really cool thing about this kit is that it comes with all the components that you need to set up a dual steering system, so you can have the rear wheels and the front wheel steering, and those components are basically exact copies of these parts, which you can fit into this gap here for the steering. You fit another servo on the side, and you will need a receiver that will power 2 servos, or a Y cable that splits the feed to 2 servos. But as you can see, I didn't fit the rear steering option on mine, and that's because, as I said before, my friend Rob, he's got one of these, and he fitted the dual servos and the dual steering, and I found when I tried it that it steers too much and just created more crashes, to be honest. With the 2 sets of wheels turning, the turning circle is so tight that at any kind of speed it will just flip over. That's great though, because if you want to use it as more of a crawler, then that is definitely a good upgrade to do. But if, like me, you want to go a bit faster, like I said, the extra speed will just make it turn over if it turns too tight. And I've got to say, even with just the front steering and the fact that we've got 4 wheels here that are obviously restricting it from turning because of those wheels in the middle there in the way, it steers a lot better than you might expect. So my recommendation for general running and high-speed bashing is just stick with the front steering only. So the last thing I'll talk about is the motor. Now this comes with just a standard Marbucci silver can, just a stock 27 turn, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really think it's got enough power to power this beast, and it's 6-wheel drive. It's okay for a while, and as I say, if you want to do a bit of crawling with it, then it's perfectly fine, but it really could do with a bit of a speed upgrade. So as you can see, I've installed a 13.5 turn censored brushless motor. So this is my go-to brushless motor. I've got these in loads of my kits. It's a Hobby King, I think, Track Star. Not sure if you still get them, but I think any 13.5 turn censored is a really good starting point for an upgrade for this kind of truck. It's got plenty of power to get this thing moving, as you've probably seen in some of the clips, and being censored, it gives you that bit more control over a sensorless brushless motor. And the kit comes with an 18 tooth pinion. There is an option to fit a 20 tooth. There's just the 2 mounting points for the motor to allow for that. I haven't done that because, as I said, I use this off-road and going up and down steep hills and so the lower gearing suits me. But if you want that little bit extra speed, you can fit a 20 tooth pinion. So there you go, and as you can probably tell from listening to me talking about this rig and seeing the running footage, that I bloody love this thing. It's one of those Tamiyas that is just fun with a capital F. It's in the same league as a Lunchbox, I think, but being 6-wheel drive, it's just, I don't know, it's just a real character, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. If you've got 180 quid, I think they are, without the electronics, then you couldn't spend it any better, I don't think. Absolutely love this thing. So I think that just about covers everything, but if you've got any questions, leave them down in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this little review. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Cheers.